Hi crafters, welcome back to my channel, Choose Joy with Carmen. And in today's video, I am doing something totally different that I've never done before. So I've been wanting to do Kendra's card challenge for a very long time. And I don't really know why I've never really taken the time to do it. I kind of think that I just had so many other things that I was working on that I didn't find the time, but really, to be honest with you, I think it was more of I would look at this and go, oh my goodness. I would think, look at all this cutting and trying to figure out what needs to go with which card and how you have to separate all the pieces in 15 different bags. And I was just like, oh, I don't know. This is overwhelming. Do I really want to attempt it? And I decided, you know what? How am I going to know if I really like it if I don't attempt it? So today's the day that I decided to give this a try. So I'm doing challenge number 12. And what I'm going to do is show you each of the cards that I created and also the products that I use. And primarily, I'm doing that for two reasons. One, so that you can see what products I use in case you have these same products and want to do it as well. And two, as a reminder for myself of what I use on each card, because I was working on some cards this week from my stash, trying to get them ready for the church. And there was things that I was like, oh, I really like that. I want to stamp that sentiment again in this card. But I didn't remember what stamp set that was from. And so then I was on a hunt. And so I'm doing it for two reasons, to show you and also as a place where I can go back if I want to see what products I used for specific cards. So let me show you the products that I'm using. So first off, you have to pick your designer paper, and you need to get six of the 6x6 designer series paper. And so I decided to go with the Bright and Beautiful, since there's really not a whole lot of issue with directional prints. And for my first set of cards, I wanted to make it easy on myself and not get something with a directional where I had to really think extra hard. So I went with this, and I thought it would work out great. And the 6 pieces that I chose were these 6 right here. And I think obviously they complement each other because they're part of the same paper pack. But these are the 6 that I chose. And then, let me move my little packs that I have them all separated into. And then I'm using this Retired Celebrate Today stamp set. I'm using this Retired Embossing folder with stars. I'm using the 1 3/4 inch punch and this little star punch. I'm using the Stylish Shapes, and I'm using Lemon Lolly, Lemon Lime Twist, and Misty Moonlight for my colors. So let me pull in my card and show you. This is for sketch number 1. And here it is. Now, in her challenge, the way she had it laid out like this. And I decided I wanted to do portrait, because I really like portrait styles a whole lot more than landscape. But so if I can, I'm probably going to try to switch it up to make them portrait. So here is my card for that first sketch. And I really like the way it turned out. And for this, since I'm going to be making 15 cards, I'm going to try to keep the inside, not so much on the inside because I have 15 cards to make. So this, I just added a piece of that designer paper that I had extra. Now this part is not part of the cutting guide, but I had some of that extra from previous cards. So when I can find that, I'm going to try to use them on the inside. And I really like it a lot. I think it turned out cute. So I'm really excited to see how card number or sketch number 2 goes. So I will be back to show you what that looks like. Okay, so now let's take a look at sketch 2 and the products that I used. So I did pull in another a designer series pack, and I pulled in this, it's from the Earthen Elegance. And I really liked this background paper, and it was Pretty Peacock. And the reason why I pulled it in is because I was going to use Pretty Peacock on my card as the background. And I really like this better, so I pulled this in. And I'm doing some coloring. So I have my Memento Tuxedo Black and Pretty Peacock ink. And the colors for my markers are Berry Burst, Blueberry Bushel, Bubble Bath, Lemon Lime Twist, Lemon Lolly, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. That's what I did use for my coloring. Again, I used this Star Punch, and the 2 stamp sets that I used that are retired was Bring on the Cake, and I'm using the sentiments from here. And then I also used this Old Hostess Birthday Bakery, and I'm using these cakes. So let's look at the card. And this one I did keep on the landscape version just because of this image here. It just looked better than going portrait. So there is my card, and I really like the way it turned out for sketch number 2. And then here's the inside. So this is moving right along. It's a lot of fun. So now let's go ahead and see what sketch number 3 looks like. Okay, for sketch number 3, I used a bunch of punches. So we've got the 2.5-inch circle, the 2.25, the 2-inch, the 1 3/4, and then I wanted to use this 1/4 inch, but it wasn't punching out very nicely. It was very jaggedy. So I pulled out this one here that has this bow and holly, and I found that little circle there that punched out much better circles than this one. And then the colors I'm using is Lemon Lime Twist, Azure Afternoon, and Pretty Peacock. And so let's pull in this card for sketch number 3. So here it is. And what I did, and I also used again the same Celebrate Today stamp set for my sentiment there on the front there. And what I did was I did some sponging around the edge of the circle with the sentiment and also this layer here. And I did that with the Lemon Lime Twist, but then I also added just a touch of Pretty Peacock and love the way this turned out. Again, I stuck with the landscape version because I guess I could have, I don't know, I just liked it better. So I didn't, like I said, I like portrait better, but I think the landscape is better for this layout. And then I brought in that same paper pack and found some designer paper that was in there that wasn't part of the original cutting guides. And I put that in here, and I really liked it because it has a bunch of circles. And I thought that would really tie in great with the front of the card. So there we go. We got sketch number 3 done. So now let's move on to sketch number 4. Okay, we're moving on to sketch number 4. And I'm using the same embossing folder with the stars and some more markers for some coloring. And so I have Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia, Lemon Lime Twist, Lemon Lolly, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. And then the stamp sets that I'm using is Days to Remember. And the only thing I'm using out of here is the little star there. And then I'm using the piece of cake for the rest of my sentiments and my image. So let's pull in the card. And this one was supposed to be landscape, but I turned it into a portrait card. And there it is. And I really like, I'm used to having another mat here. And so instead of, since the sketch didn't call for a mat there, I decided to do some stamping there on the background. And that's why I needed that little star. And then did all my little coloring, and I really like the way it turned out. And then on the inside, I just said happy birthday, and then we have some more of that designer paper there at the bottom. Okay, so there is sketch number 4. Now let's move on to sketch number 5. Okay, for sketch number 5, I am using the 1 3/4 inch circle punch, the 2-inch circle punch. I'm again using this Celebrate Today stamp set. Again, the embossing folder with the stars. And then the 2 colors I'm using is the Lemon Lolly and Lemon Lime Twist. So I made a little bit of changes to this sketch. Here is the card. Now the 2 pieces that I had originally cut per the cutting guides was the back side of these 2 with the yellow stars. So I happened to just turn them over and go, oh, I kind of like those yellow stars. So when I did that, I remembered that I still had a little piece of this that I had used on a previous card that wasn't part of my original cutting guides. And I thought I'm going to go ahead and do that with these yellow stars because I thought it would complement it very nicely. And that white background there's just something about, it was just too plain for me, so I had to add that embossing again. Now the sketch, if you see, oh, it looks like I'm missing something. I'll have to go back and fix that. But if you notice that the circle is on top of that little, on top of this strip, the circle. But what I did was I wanted my circle behind there to have the 2 colors. So I cut them in half, but I didn't want to see that little bit of line where the 2 half circles met. So that's why I put this strip on top. So that this is basically going between my mat and my sentiment, where in the sketch, it's just going right behind both of those circles. So I did that, and then because I wanted both of those colors on that strip, I went ahead and cut down another little piece of that Lemon Lolly and laid it on top. And whereas you see on the sketch, it's just basically one strip there. Looks like the thing that I forgot was some embellishments here on the corner. So maybe what I'll do is put some little circles there of the lemon lime twist. I think that would be cute there. So that's probably what I'll go back and do. And then that'll finish off this card. And then the inside, I just took some more of that paper, and then I had some left over that I just put a little banner up there. So there is sketch number 5. So now let's move on to sketch number 6. So for sketch 6, I used the Bring on the Cake retired Stampin' Up set. Again, the embossing folder with the stars, my Memento Tuxedo Black, the Banners Pick-a-Punch, and my Stampin' Right markers, which is the Berry Burst, Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia, Lemon Lime Twist, Lemon Lolly, and Lost Lagoon for my coloring. So here it is. And I love that sentiment because I like to be able to color in each of those letters. It makes it so much fun. And then, since I didn't really have any more of that scrap and I didn't want to cut into another 6x6 just yet of that star paper or this one, I went ahead and just on the inside took a piece of the same color, the Bubble Bath. Is that what it's called, Bubble Bath? I always want to, I got confused because there was somebody else that was calling it bubble gum, and so now I'm always hesitant if I even know the name. But it's the Bubble Bath, and I took a piece of that cardstock and embossed it so I could have a little something at the bottom, and I had a little piece of that star paper, so I just did a little banner there on the bottom there so that it would tie in with how the banners are on the front. So there is my sketch or my card for sketch number 6. So now let's move on to sketch number 7. Okay, so on sketch number 7, I kind of really switched it up. First of all, the strips, I guess I wasn't lining them up properly so that I would have enough to cut off on the edges there. So, and I did want to have a mat underneath that. I didn't want it to go directly on the card base, so I created another mat. And because my strips weren't lining up because of the way I was probably placing them, I went ahead and cut that mat down. And I also turned the sketch so that it would be portrait. And so this is what I'm talking about here. And then because I did that, this was going to be too big and I wanted it portrait, so I cut the size of that down. And again, I'm using this Bring on the Cake. I wanted to do that embossing on that panel there. And again, my Memento Tuxedo Black, and I decided to go with the Azure Afternoon. And then, so when I did my coloring this time, I decided to use the more darker or more vibrant colors, I guess, or regal or whatever you want to call it. So I went with the Azure Afternoon, the Berry Burst. The Lemon Lolly was just a little bit on the little dot here and on the candle. And then Lost Lagoon. So those are the colors that I did for coloring. And then on the inside, I just took a piece of that, one of the designer papers that I had a scrap of. Actually, this one was one that I pulled off because I didn't have it long enough and I thought I could fix it and had to cut another piece, but I ended up using it on the inside, so that was okay. Alrighty, so there is my take on sketch number 7. Now let's move on to sketch number 8. Okay, for sketch number 8, I'm using the 2.5-inch circle, 1 3/4-inch circle. The colors I'm using for stamping is Berry Burst and Blueberry Bushel. And then the lemon lime twist was just for my stamp on the back of my card. And then I'm using the celebrate today again with the happy birthday. So here it is. And I think, I mean, this was fun. I like it a lot. I think the only thing I'm missing, looks like there must be something that needs to go there, maybe an embellishment. But I don't know, maybe I don't think I need it really. So I think I'm going to just stick with the way it is now. And then on the inside, I just added some more of that designer paper. So there we go. There is sketch number 8. Moving on to sketch number 9. Okay, so sketch number 9 was landscape, and I decided I wanted a portrait version. So I changed it up so it's going to be this way instead of landscape. And the products I use, I was getting tired of the other ones, so I went ahead and pulled out this Hello Cupcake. And the colors I'm using is Berry Burst, Bubble Bath, and Misty Moonlight. And also Berry Burst and Misty Moonlight for my markers because I wanted to do this sprinkled with love, but I wanted love to be in the Berry Burst and sprinkled with in Misty Moonlight. So I had to put it in my stamp positioner and use the markers to color the words. And so I wanted to make sure that I was able to get a clear image. So that's why I had to use a stamp positioner. So here is the card. And that little cupcake is just adorable. And I put that little heart in there because it says sprinkled with love. And then on the inside, I just again added a different designer paper, but still complements the ones that are on the front. So there we go. That is, what sketch are we on? I'm losing track here. That was for sketch number 9. So now we're going to be moving on to sketch number 10. I only have what? 10. How many more do I have left? 6 more cards to create. And then we will get all 15 of these done for this challenge. Okay, heading on to the next card. Okay, so on to sketch number 10. Now I did add another layer. The paper, the designer paper that we cut with all the cutting guides in the beginning, is going to go clear to the end of my mat that I've created here because I added another layer behind that. But I was okay with that because I liked the way that third layer looked, or second, or whatever you want to call it. So here's the card, and this time I'm using basically just the Berry Burst ink, and I brought in this Birthday Blossoms stamp set because I was just wanting to do something different with flowers, and I really like that sentiment in that set that says have a beautiful birthday. And I wanted, instead of having, like in the sketch, they have these 3 little embellishments here, but I wanted them to go evenly across that strip there. So I pulled out this retired flower punch and I punched out 3 of the flowers, and then this cupcake so that I could get 3 of these dots and I could put in the flowers there. So there is the front, and then on the inside it just added a little bit more of that paper. So wow, we're making progress here. We're on sketch number 10. Now to move on to sketch number 11. Only 5 more to go. Okay, so sketch number 11 was quite a little challenge for me, and it was because I read the way the layout went wrong. I thought this strip over here went right on top of the pattern paper, and it didn't. It butted right up against it. So when I put mine on top of the pattern paper on the edge, when I went to put it down, I had this big gap over here. And so I decided, well, let's just go ahead. I wanted it portrait anyway. So what I decided to do was I added a strip of this on this end as well to even it out. I got rid of these two layers here, and then I turned it into a portrait style. So the products I used, again, the star embossing folder. I brought in a new stamp set called Label Love, and with the punch that goes with it, I'm using Lemon Lolly and Fresh Freesia, and I'm also using the star punch. So let's pull in the card. So what I did was when I put those little flags on there, I put them on first, and then I ran my piece through the embossing machine, because then I could get the stars on that entire piece. And I went ahead and added those random stars just to give it some little extra there, because I didn't do the embellishments in the sketch down here because I totally switched out the way I did my card. So I just decided to throw some random stars in there, and then did my sentiment there with a circle. Oh, I also used the 1 3/4 inch circle punch, which I don't have here in front of me. And yeah, this one was interesting just because I started it off wrong, but it worked out good. And then I just added some more of that paper on the inside that I had to cut into another piece of designer paper. So there's that one. Even though it was quite a challenge, I got it done. So now let's move on to sketch number 12. Okay, on sketch number 12, I did turn it into a portrait card, and I really like it because I like cards that have these angles. And so the products I'm using on that card are the 1 3/4 inch circle punch. Again, I'm using the same happy birthday out of the Celebrate Today. I'm using my stylish shapes, the circles, and I'm using Blueberry Bushel and Pretty Peacock for my colors. And here's the card. And this was very clean and simple, and I like the layout a lot. And there's the inside, just using using up some of those scraps that I had from any of my cutting. So there is sketch number 12. So now let's move on to sketch number 13. Okay, on sketch number 13, I did add a matte layer behind this top banner here. And it's because I wanted it to stand out. I felt like it was just kind of getting lost with the other two banners, with the papers. So I am using the 1 3/4 inch, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, and this little circle punch here for my embellishments on the side there. And again, I'm still using the Celebrate Today because of I really like that happy birthday right with that 1 3/4 inch circle. And the colors I'm using is Fresh Freesia and Azure Afternoon. And here is the card for that one. And I really like that matte behind that top banner there. I feel like it sets it apart. Then on the inside, again, just some more of those scraps. So there we go. There's sketch number 13. Only 2 more to go. Let's move on to sketch 14. Okay, on sketch number 14, there was this layer here that she said embossed or stenciled or printed panel. So I decided to pull in that same pattern paper that I used on sketch number 2 that came from the Earth and Elegance 12 by 12 Designer Series paper pack. And then I'm also using my stylish shapes because I was getting tired of just plain circles. So I wanted something more with a little more than just a circle. So that's what I'm using. Again, I'm sticking with the same stamp set because the sentiment's being punched out with the 1 3/4 inch circle. And the colors I'm using is Berry Burst, Pretty Peacock, and Lost Lagoon. So here is the card. And what I did on this part here, I popped up this and I did a little sponging around the edge with the same color, the Lost Lagoon that I matted this piece with. And then there's that other designer paper from that Earth and Elegance, and I really like it. So I think I love this card a lot because it has more layers, and I'm all about layers. So I really like this layout. And then there's the inside of the card. All right, well, there is sketch number 14. One more to go. Be right back. Whew, got through 15 cards. I'm telling you, that was a lot. So, okay, so on this sketch, she has a strip, a 1/4 inch strip above here and above here. I mean, below here on the pattern paper, but I decided I wasn't going to work with strips. I just went ahead and made mine a 1/4 inch wider than the designer paper on both sides because I didn't feel like dealing with the strips. And I did leave it a landscape because of the stamp set that I wanted to use, and the way this is laid out here, I just think it lent itself to be landscape for sure. So I'm using this punch only because I needed these little circles there for my embellishments here and here, and also, and I did the same size. These looks like smaller circles, but I did the same size as these on my sentiment. And I brought in a new stamp set. It's a retired hostess called Happiest Birthday Wishes, and I'm using It's Your Day and Happy Birthday. And the colors I'm using for stamping are Blueberry Bushel and Pretty Peacock. Okay, so let's look at the card. And here it is. And I really like that happy birthday sentiment because it was the perfect fit for that little area there. And then It's Your Day also was perfect for this card layout. And there are my little, I decided to add little circles there of the different colors that's in the paper. But then down here I just did the blueberry bushel that matches the card base. And I stamped it in the blueberry bushel, and down here I stamped it in the Pretty Peacock. And then the inside is just like that. Okay, well, there's card challenge, Kendra's card challenge number 12. First time ever doing this. And I think it was fun, but it was, I tend to like get, I don't know what the word is. I want each card to be so unique that it took me a little longer because of that. Had I just kept it simple maybe and just used one stamp set or ephemera or something, it might have went a lot quicker. But the good thing is now I can look at all these sketches when the card's made up and use those same sketches for other cards that I want to make if I just want to make one or two. So that is the good part about it. So hope you enjoyed seeing all the cards that I made for this challenge. If you did, You know what I would like? A thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. So until my next video, hope you all have some crafting fun with if you're doing this challenge. And if not, hope you're just having fun crafting and hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And until my next video, remember, choose joy and may God bless you all. Bye bye.